Welcome to the Digital Cinema Society panel. We're calling it Focus on Cine Optics from the Buyer's Point of View. Participating on the panel in alphabetical order of company name is Jean-Marc Bouchut from Angenieux, Thorsten Meywald from ARRI, Zellan representing Cooke, Seth Emmons from CW Sonderoptic, also known as Leica, Stosh Durbacz from Fujinon, P&S Technik. We have Anna Piffl from Schneider Optics. We have Kimberly Hogue from Sigma. We have Brian Linhoff, and from Tokina we have Ryan Avery. Snehal Patel from Zeiss will be coming shortly at another conflicting event downstairs. So, like I said before, I do events to find out things that I'm interested in. And as a lens owner myself and an investor in cinema equipment, I try to follow the markets and I try to see what makes a good value. There's been a lot that gets confusing lately in the world of lenses. They were always a really safe investment because cameras would change. Like the lenses I have now have gone through 5 different cameras for me. But now all the sensors are getting bigger, so the lenses I have won't cover those sensors. And there's also anamorphic, there's the speed of the lenses, and there's just a lot of things to consider. So I think the best way to do it is to get every major manufacturer in the industry up here in one place at one time, and we'll let them tell a little bit about their lenses. If you guys could take a few minutes each, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. We'll start with Jean-Marc Bouchut.
Okay. Thanks, James, again, for inviting us to share our story about lenses. I think it's always great to have this event here every year in Cine. So, Angenieux, we keep focusing our product into some the new story is large format camera, and especially full frame. So on the high-end side, what we did last year, we introduced a new 12 times zoom. The 24-290 has been really the reference in the market for the past 16 years. So we needed to refresh that product in order to just create a new quality, new performance, because camera are becoming more and more just resolution. And also to address the change of format that seems to be a trend, especially last year with a lot of introduction between Sony, ARRI, and Red with a full frame camera. So the new 12 time is a 24-290 T28 in Super 45, but you can also adapt the lens in what we call Ultra 35. That means open gate, because open gate has been used a lot, especially with the Alexa Mini and the standard Alexa. But also you can swap the rear in order to cover full frame. So basically it's just the full concept of optics with one base lens with focus and zoom group, and the rear part are swappable. This is something that can be done easily. You need to be in a clean area, but that's something that just a standard lens technician can do really easily in a rental house. We still sell quite a lot of the classic Optimo 15-40, 28-76, and 45-120. They are really lightweight, compact, very durable, very just perfect, I would say. Maybe just too perfect because they don't break. So people keep just use them a lot. The 19.5-94, which is an upgrade version of a 17-80, has been pretty popular recently because of the use of the Alexa open gate format. That's basically the only wide angle lens that can cover that format. So people have been using it a lot. So second series we introduced 2 years ago, that was the easy lenses. The easy lenses was a new concept, trying to address more like a economical market, people who can just offer a camera around $10,000 to $15,000, and there is plenty of camera in that just level of price. price, but they didn't want to buy lens in just $20,000+ lens. So we came with also a new concept of lenses in good quality, good performance, but also with future-proof, having the capability of being adapted from Super 35 to full frame. So you can really optimize your format and you can optimize your T-stop. There is some zoom lenses covering full frame, but they are around T2.8, T3 in full frame. So just if you want to use Super 35 camera, which is really still the mainstream, I know full frame is becoming more and more popular, but I think still more than 95% of the camera in use for cinema are in the Super 35 area. So why do you sacrifice your zoom range, your wide angle, or your T-stop just because you want just to be future-proof? So the idea is also, like we did on the 12-1, to create that kind of interchangeable rear optics. So going from Super 35 to full frame with an optimized focal length and T-stop. On the anamorphic side, we have now 3 lenses with anamorphic performances, 2 short zoom, 30-72 and 56-152. They have both been introduced in the market 3 years ago and 4 years ago. They are very lightweight. They are around 4.8 pounds, 5 pounds. So it's very compact, very lightweight, very easy to use in complement of prime lenses in anamorphic. But also we introduced 2 years ago a 40-440, a long zoom lens, also anamorphic, pretty compact for the 10 times zoom. So it's the lens weight around like 17 pounds, so pretty good. And just recently at NAB we introduced a new version of the lens, 42-420, just with an optimized distortion. Some of the distortion we were just having on the 40-440 was a little bit too strong, so we just created a new design, an adaptation of a 10 time, and the lens will be available pretty soon. And
sounds like a lot of versatility.
Yeah, well, we try to be versatile. We try to really create a lot of options for a cinematographer, of course. And the last series we have is a style series. So we have now 3 short zoom from 16-40, 30-76, and the last one is a 48-130. And we also have just that's a lens that has been in the market for more than 5 years, the 25-250, which is really, based on the 10 times zoom that Angenieux has been building for more than 50 years, but with modern characteristic, low breathing, no ramping, and really optimized performances.
Let's hand your mic down. Thank you. And Thorsten Meywald, can you tell us about the ARRI lenses? I know you have a whole new set that have come out with the LF.
Well, it's not only the lenses. In February this year, we have introduced our Alexa LF system. This is a start of a large format system. It's the camera, it's a new mount, what we call LPL mount, and of course there are also lenses. We are starting with prime lenses, so you get very often the question, are you doing also zoom lenses? Yes, it comes later. And in the LF world, we need to build up a whole new set of equipment. And we don't have lenses, we don't have cameras, accessories to the camera, it will fit. So we are at a starting point of something which is really very exciting. But I think Super 35 is not going away. Coming to the mount, I'm not talking about the camera, that would be one of my colleagues, it's not the subject here. Well, coming to the mount, LPL mount, which is large positive lock, and it's a larger PL mount because we have found out to make an optimized lens for this larger format, we need also a larger mount. With a shorter back focus, which is just 44 millimeter, the mount diameter is 62, so it's substantially larger. We are licensing this mount to other camera and lens and accessory manufacturers, and I think all lens manufacturers sitting here on this table, they have signed for the NDA and got the information, and even at NAB we have seen from Cooke and from others also LPL mount versions of their lenses. So it's not only exclusive for ARRI, it's also for the whole community. We don't charge anything for that. We want that everybody is using this mount. So we have also partnerships with lens projector manufacturers. You need also the measurement tools. So companies like Dance, Crosseal, Gecko, and maybe also more in the future, they are preparing measurement devices. But coming to the lenses, which is most important for this auditorium here. And we are starting with a high-end lens series, what we call signature primes. These are 16 primes. Most of them, they are T1.8. There are only two exceptions. It's on the tele side, 200 millimeter, which is a T-stop of 2.5, and 280, it's a T-stop of 2.8. All other lenses are 1.8. We have also some very exclusive lenses. On the wide-angle side, it's a 12 millimeter T1.8. A 12 in large format, it's equivalent to the viewing angle of an 8 millimeter in Super 35, and this is really very, very wide. When you have the lenses in your hand, and I encourage you to come to our trade show booth, we have 13 different focal lengths on display. When you have it in your hands, you feel the lenses are very lightweight, and the reason is for the first time we are using high index glass materials to make the lens elements substantially thinner, and also magnesium for the barrel material. Magnesium is a material which comes from the aircraft industry, and you can make the barrel material much thinner, and this brings us to a lighter lens. And most of the lenses, they are about 4 pounds for a high speed and a high-end lens. This is quite a lightweight lens. And you might ask what is different to other lenses in the past, and well, our past with lenses goes way back to standard high-speed lenses, and we have made the variable primes with partners, and also master prime, ultra prime, just recently anamorphic lenses like the master anamorphics, and of course a whole bunch of zoom lenses. Well, all these lenses were made for film. Of course, they work perfectly also with digital, but we had the feeling we need to make something completely new, and not setting up of something which is already there, not doing a vintage lens, not doing a much more high resolution lens, because we are not doing technical shots, and we are telling stories. And what is the best lens for storytelling? And storytelling means human faces are so important. And since we are also overlooking at ARRI, the post-production process, we have analyzed what is a face, what is a color of a face, or what contrast do faces need. And based on these findings, we have designed our signature prime lenses. And the name signature primes, this is also imminent to ARRI. And last year it was our 100 years anniversary, and we have also included all the findings from the last 80, 90, 100 years on lenses, and they find also their way to the specification of the signature primes, but not only looking to the past, also looking to the future. And we have higher resolution sensors. We are talking about high dynamic range, but on the other side, we are also talking about emotions, natural feelings, and we should also bring these messages to stories. And this is the secret behind these lenses. And it's very difficult to describe in words, and it's best to see the images. And on our trade show booth, we have some show reels, but the best is just get your hands on the lenses, try it out. We have a setup with a very nice lighting, and get your own impression. This is the thing to do. There are also some small features you might like on the
might have to save that.
Yeah.
We're gonna have trouble getting down the whole line.
Oh, I see. Well, you see, I'm a little bit enthusiastic about that because there's so much to talk about it. But maybe we can continue that later, and you can ask me whatever you like about the lenses. But I now give to Les.
Les,
give him the next 10 minutes.
Les doesn't like me to keep talking about that he won an Academy Award, so I won't say anything about that.
Well,
this is Les Zellan
Thanks.
from Cooke Optics.
Sounds like you guys are picking up on the Cooke look.
No, it's...
Anyway, I'm Les Zellan from Cooke, and I'll try to be brief so we can get down this line. Before I talk about our lenses, I just want to mention two things. One is, I don't know how many of you might be familiar with Cooke Optics TV, cookeoptics.tv. It's a great series on the internet. I encourage you to look at it as we talk to DPs from around the world, including Jeff. And they're somewhat opinionated, but not you, but we get them to tell their experiences, how they interact with actors, directors, how they work on the set, how they light, how they work with, how they pick a camera, how they pick their lenses. It's not Cooke-centric. We actually have people talking about how they work with lenses other than Cooke. It's really anybody with an interesting story. So if you haven't checked it out, there's almost a new video up there every week. I encourage you to check it out. Second, they may be giving away the LPL mount, which we appreciate, and we are licensed to use it. We have developed a system over the last 18 years called /I, which is a metadata system, which finally looks like it's almost going to be really used in anger. The latest version of that from Cooke and other companies is going to allow the FX people to do distortion mapping and correct within less than a pixel. So we're going to give them far more accurate information than they've ever had before, even on lenses that they map themselves. So this is a big step forward, and we'll be doing some tests here in LA in the next few weeks, and then we'll release it. It's pretty exciting. So user point of view, I think, was the...
Yep.
So not my point of view, your point of view. So we pride ourselves at Cooke on listening to what you guys want. So when digital came out, obviously we had S4s, we had 5Is, and the mini S4s, which are still incredibly popular lenses, and I think pretty much set the standard in Super 35. When digital came in, it was clear that you guys were looking for something more. Digital, as I've said in this forum before, it can be a sterile and boring format. And so cinematographers, as the cameras are getting better and better and better, and as the engineers chase resolution, you guys are trying to chase character and personality in the pictures. So how did you do that? Well, we noticed a lot of people were using old speed Panchros. So since we own those lenses, or we own those designs, the youngest speed Panchro would be 53 years old this year. The last one was made in 1965. So they're getting old, they're getting discolored. There are a number of companies that rehouse them, but it's a finite resource. So we developed them Panchro Classics, which are based on those old lenses designs, but they're new glass, new housings. And to tell you how we nailed it, Dick Pope, if you're familiar with his work, he shoots almost exclusively with old speed Panchros. And this year he was doing a film in New York, and we gave him a set of Panchro Classics to test against the speed Panchros, and he went out with the Panchro Classics. So for me, it doesn't get any better than that. So we know we nailed it there. We also came out with an anamorphic series of lenses, again, because digital makes anamorphic easier, faster, and more required, again, to give you, so you guys can put character and personality into digital. We came out with two different sets, both a regular set and a special flare set, which really, we call it special flare because when you see it written down, if it said super funky, it would look a little strange, but really it's super funky. And these are lenses we came out, again, because we were trying to listen to what you guys wanted. And then last year, ahead of all this deluge of large frame cameras, we introduced the S7s, which are basically the S4s for full frame. They're T2, they cover full frame, what we call full frame plus, and that goes up to the 5K mode on the ARRI 65. And of course, we still are selling and S4s, F5Is, and mini S4s. And as my colleague here from Leica mentioned to me, and thank you for the information, he said Cooke makes more lens series in this industry than anybody else. So, and if I count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, anyway, about 7, 8 series if you count the 2, 8 if you count both anamorphics. And one last thing, 2 last things. Our S7s are available in either PL or LPL, so you can go either way, and the mounts are changeable. And lastly, on our anamorphics, all of our anamorphics are front anamorphics, which give it more the anamorphic character, the bokeh, the artifacts. We tried on purpose not to make a clean anamorphic lens, because if you want a clean anamorphic look, you might as well just shoot Super 35 and crop it in spherical. The only reason in my mind to shoot anamorphic is to get what I call the funkiness of anamorphic. Again, to put character and personality into what you're shooting. Did I make it, Jim?
I think you're good.
Okay.
I think you're good.
And let me introduce Seth.
I would like to mention before, so you said that Jeff was in the audience, referred to Jeff. I want everybody to know we're very proud to have Jeff Boyle, the founder of Cinematographer Mailing List here. So thank you.
I'm holding up the applause.
He came to our very first lens event at Cine Gear. I guess that was about 12 years ago or something. We've been doing this a while. So next we have Seth Emmons from CW Sonderoptic.
Thank you. Yes, my name is Seth. I'm the communications director for CW Sonderoptic. We are the sister company of Leica Camera, same ownership, different on paper, but we design and manufacture all of the Leica Cine Lenses. You know, from the buyer's perspective, Jim mentioned something right at the top there that, you know, he's got cameras, new sensors are coming out, and older lenses are having difficulty covering those. I think we all more or less agree that Super 35 is not going away, but there are going to be times when, as cinematographers and camera department folks, that you need to use larger formats. So what we're running into when we talk to people considering purchases is that they want to know that they're going to be able to work with any format that's thrown at them. And that's something that at CW we've been developing towards for a few years now. We believe in large format for its creative opportunities and the unique things that cinematographers can create in this format, but it has a place. And large format optics from all of us are always going to work on Super 35 cameras anyway. You can always go down, you just can't go up. To that end, we have 2 series of large format optics that we've introduced in the last 2 years. I think the Dahlias we introduced here last year, and right before NAB, and then the M0.8 ones we started delivering in the past year. We basically took 2 approaches to optics. One is the more professional mechanics, the consistent dimensions, consistent size, consistent focus and iris rings, and that's the Leica Dahlia lenses, which are these guys right here. Rather small for the fact that they cover 60 millimeter image circle diameter, which is Alexa 65, 70 millimeter film, and everything on down. These lenses are derived from Leica's medium format line of S-series lenses, which were designed for fashion and beauty. They have a lot of those characteristics, but those lenses don't cover 60 millimeters, so we had to do a lot of optical modifications and coding changes to get to where we are here. The other large format line that we have is the Leica M0.8 series, which is these giant lenses right here. These are truly the Leica M iconic optics that have been around for 60 plus years in the still photography world. We're preserving as much of what I like Les's term funkiness of these lenses. They have a lot of curve.
That is trademarked, you know.
All right, here's a pound. Yeah, so they have a lot of what usually is corrected out of cinema optics. They have a lot of field curvature. They lose contrast and resolution on the edges. They're beautifully tack sharp in the middle. They have aberrations. They have character. We didn't want to take that away from them. We just wanted to make them usable on cinema cameras. So we have the focus and iris rings and standard front diameters. But otherwise, they are super interesting. So in our view of the market, we want to offer the creative aspect as well as the professional aspect. It's about offering a variety of looks and a variety of tools for any format. And as buyers looking at the market now, we have both of these things that are going to cover the vast majority of cameras that are available now and that are coming out in the future. Just real quickly, the Thalias are available in PL mount. We are doing the LPL mount for the Alexa LF, and as well as XPL mount for the ARRI 65 via ARRI rental. The Leica M0.8 lenses are only Leica M mount, which means that you have to adapt the camera. We make a mount for the Alexa Mini and the Amira. We make a mount now for the Sony Venice, and these do cover the full frame. And then Red make their own mount, so you can use it with any of the Red cameras as well.
Joining us now, we have Snehal Patel from Zeiss. He had a conflicting event that he was doing downstairs.
Yes.
But we'll get you in alphabetical order. I just know that there's no more room down there at that end of the table.
I want to sit
So-
next to Jean-Marc anyway, so.
So next up in alphabetical order is Fujinon, Fujifilm optical devices. What are you calling it these days, Stosh?
We're going with Fujifilm optical devices, but
Okay.
the brand is still Fujinon, that's for sure. Hi everyone, thanks Jim. We're pretty excited to still be manufacturing and agreeing with everyone that 35 is here for a while to stay. We're at this time exclusively making zoom lenses for the 35 mils image sensor size cameras. I'll just quickly run through the three series of lenses that we have. The HK Premiers, which really were our first foray into the PL mount zoom lens years ago, continue to be certainly our flagship set of zooms. They're wide angle at a 14 to 45 at T2. There's an 18 to 85 also at T2, a 24 to 180 at 2.6, and a 75 to 400 starting at 2.8. So if you haven't experienced those lenses, certainly they are something to see, and over on our booth you can check them out. The Cabrio line that was probably certainly is by far our best-selling lens, set of cinema zoom lenses, continue to be very strong. Fairly new to that line is a 20 to 120 at T3.5, the very popular 19 to 90 at 2.9, a wide-angle 14 to 35 also at 2.9, a lightweight Tele 85 to 300 that starts at 2.9, and a nice big guy 25 to 300 at a 3.5. Rounding out our cinema line is our set of MK zooms. This one here is an example of that. They are designed exclusively for the short flange cameras that are out there. So it comes stock with a Sony E-mount on it, so the Sony FS7, FS5, they're A-series cameras. That flange distance has a very short focal flange back at 18 mil as opposed to the 52 mil of PL. That has enabled the design team some significant efficiencies in bringing the quality and the look of those higher end lenses down into a much more affordable set of zooms for you. With the 18 to 55 at 2.9 and this 50 to 135 also at 2.9. Coming in at 2.2 pounds, super lightweight, all manual, classical cinema construction, all for under $4,000 US. Here at the show, and recognizing what's come up a few times already, the need for the investment in your optics to certainly be prolonged, an expectation that your expensive lenses are going to outlast the cameras that seem to be changing at rapid paces from a lot of vendors these days. Here at the show, we're working and we're showing some working solutions from a number of third-party vendors, both mechanical and optical, that are going to expand your ability to use these lenses on multiple cameras and multiple different applications. So just to start off, in terms of rear mounts, I said this is a short flange camera. It comes stock with the E-mount. This is from Duclos Lens here in LA, an FZ mount. I'm from Canada, FC mount. It enables you to put that on the base camera mount of the Sony f3, f5, and f55. So expanding a little bit the number of cameras we can get these real nice affordable lenses on. Also, we're showing a Micro Four Thirds mount from MTF in the UK. So that now opens the door to GH5s, Blackmagic Pocket Cinema cameras, other short flange Micro Four Thirds cameras. You'll see on the side from Croziel a motor on there. If any of you have invested in the Sony FS5 or FS7, you'll know it comes with a hand grip. This motor from Croziel and a similar style motor from Haldane enable you the ability to plug that Lank hand grip, loop it through this motor, and now take control of the zoom of these lenses from the hand grip provided by Sony on those cameras. Some of the optical, while we're on the lens mounts, this one from Duclos, also Duclos has manufactured a EF mount for the Cabrio line of lenses. So now with that optional Duclos EF mount, you're able to get the Cabrios that all come stock PL onto many of the many EF cameras that are out there on the marketplace today natively without the need for adapters. Some of the optical adapters we've got, optical expanders from Duclos. He's got a 1.7. If you are able to get to the booth, you can see a Sony Venice working in full frame mode with an HK 1885 with their 1.7 expander. So now opening all these zoom lenses that were built natively for 35, opening them up to be used in full frame, in the full frame environment. We've got some shorter expanders from Optica Magnus. He's got a 1.2 in the booth. It'll get these lenses to cover Alexa Open Gate. He's also got a rear anamorphic mount for the HK series lenses. So an interesting opportunity to keep those core optics and then put an anamorphic back on. While we're on the anamorphic side, SLR Magic has a front anamorphic adapter that you'll see on the front of an MK on the booth. So some pretty exciting stuff that is enabling these real popular spherical zoom lenses to be used certainly well into the future. But we certainly are aware that the full frame era is upon us. Our team from Japan, along with the global product development team, have been very carefully watching this. We are intimately aware that investment in optics are long-term investments, so we're getting real close to having some announcements to make from that perspective. The feedback we've been getting is that the market trends to smaller, lighter weight, yet fast lenses is something that we're going to need to be able to fill when the time comes. My last comment, our colleagues from our camera division are also in our booth in a big way this year. So if any of you are familiar with the GFX or the X series mirrorless cameras from Fujifilm, they're all there along with product experts at the show. They have their own camera bar, all the lenses. You have opportunity to talk to those guys, try out the product. Their new XH1 that's got some great video capabilities, as well as X-mount versions of these MKs, enabling you to have all that cinematic feature set on your X series camera. Thanks, everyone.
Stosh, I think the cat's out of the bag. We did an interview with Tom Fletcher, and he says by the end of the year, early next year, there'll be full-frame zoom lenses from Fujinon.
He was not lying.
It's not a secret anymore.
We're pretty excited about it, for sure. And they'll probably be lightweight and fast.
I hope so. Next we have Anna Piffl from P&S Technik.
Thank you. I'm very happy that P&S Technik can join this year for the first time in the lens panel. I know that many in this room remember Piffl as Technik for the depth of field converters we did starting in the year 2000, the Pro 35 and the Mini 35. The company was founded almost 30 years ago, and one thing that goes like a red line through the history of P&S Technik is that we work out products from requests that we get from the users, and that we look after saving the investment that you have made with our products. So we started the company actually with optical and electronically upgrades for film cameras back in the 90s. The depth of field adapters helped to started or worked on the transfer from film to digital, and now the recent years we worked a lot with rehousing vintage lenses to make them work in the cine world. And during this rehousing process we got a lot of requests for restoring the lenses, so especially also for anamorphic lenses. And all the work on restoring the lenses brought us to the point to work on new glass elements for those lenses. And a result of all this work and research you can see here is the Evolution 2X lenses. They are based on the Kova anamorphic lens design, but all the requests for spare parts for these lenses made us have us made the lens elements, and as we succeeded to do these, we did the whole lens, and from the users we learned that the 4 lens set could have some addition to it, and we added a 135mm lens and a wide angle lens. So now a 6 lens set is available, and as you can see the lens is very compact. So as far as I know, is this lens set has the most compact and small and lightweight anamorphic lenses in the market. For original Kova lenses, we have spare parts, and we offer a rehousing that upgrades the whole mechanics in the lens, so they can use with motors and mat boxes and all the accessories that we have nowadays with lenses. And you can have different mounts on the lenses as well. So we have an EF mount, E mount that you can use on those anamorphic lenses. And if you need an anamorphic lens for example on a drone or all these options we have now for camera moves, I think this is an ideal lens because it's very small. Actually, before my father founded the company almost 30 years ago, he worked with a still photography company and a motion picture camera company and an optics company. And during that time, he was approached by a company called Technovision, and I know many people in this room also remember Technovision lenses. Back then he was asked to join them in development of camera and lenses in the 90s. Then it was a family decision not to move to Rome, where the company was located during that time, but he wanted to take the challenge of working with them and started P&S Technik. And Technovision was one of the first customers of the company. And a few years ago, when we started another anamorphic lens series, the long-term friendship came up again, and the request to start a lens project together, which we announced at the Cine Gear show. They're Technovision classic lenses. Also a set of anamorphic lenses. They cover a full frame sensor. They also cover the ARRI LF sensor. And the 1.5 anamorphic squeeze factor, I think, is very useful. It fits very well with the larger sensor formats and the aspect ratios you get with those sensor formats. And the recent announcement also encouraged us. Our decision to start this project 3 years ago is in a good direction. And also, all the new cameras with the larger sensors have the squeeze factor that is very useful to have the squeezed image in the viewfinder of the camera are integrated in those new cameras. The Technovision Classic lens set we announced 5 prime lenses and 2 zoom lenses. The one zoom lens is already available, and this prime lens you can also have a look at on our booth. The second zoom lens and the 100 millimeter lens of the set will be shipping by the end of the year, and the other prime lenses will be shipping early next year. Another good thing about the lenses is that you can use them with all the cameras out there that have a 16:9 sensor. Although it's covering a larger sensor, there's no problem using it on a Super 35 16:9 sensor. And we also have customers that use it with in connection with the ARRI Alexa mini camera on a 4:3 sensor to get the anamorphic look, and but a distribution format of 16:9. So both the anamorphic lens series are front anamorphic lenses, so they produce the classic look of, and they can produce the horizontal streak. You get the oval highlights, and both are different in the bouquet, but they have both very nice bouquet. And in our booth we have several cameras, we have the lenses, and you're very welcome to join us and have a look and check them out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have from Schneider Optics, Kimberly Hogue.
Hello, everyone. So Schneider makes lenses, and we also have filters. So we have 2 lines of lenses. We have our Cine Xenars, which are Super 35. It's this guy. And then we have our Xenon full frame primes, which is this guy. And so it covers full frame. And as you can see, it's a very nice, lightweight, compact size. So it's perfect for drone work and gimbal work because they're basically all the same weight. It's like 2.6, and then the 18's a bit more, around like 3.1, I think. So it's perfect for switching on and off. All the gears are the same size. So people have been loving them for drone and gimbal work because of the size, and plus the optics are beautiful. So it's a win-win. We also have in the FF Prime, we have a Cine Tilt, which is a Sony E-mount currently, but basically the Cine Tilt, the lens is mounted, and then the camera tilts. So what it's doing is you're keeping your framing, but it's changing the focal plane, which is great because then you're getting the focal plane like in focus in a diagonal. So for certain shots where you would have to like move or you can't get everything in focus, you can use the Cine Tilt to do that. And then we do have filters, which I know Les brought up about how DPs are complaining about lenses and cameras being too sharp and not having enough character. So we have diffusions that you can do to add some character to all these lenses. We actually came out at NAB with a TrueNet where we actually stretch stocking between glass. So if you guys remember from back in the day when you could still do it now, but you stretch stocking behind the lens, we now actually put that so you can have it in front of the lens. So you're going to have a consistent look instead of trying to stretch and like recreate an image. So stop by our booth, check out our nets, check out our lenses, and say hi. But yeah, we're actually really excited about the net filters because we have a black, a beige, and a gray. So it's just going to add a lot of character and look to your image. And yeah.
Next, we have Brian Linhoff from Sigma, and I'd like to tell everybody that we're welcoming you to LA, to Burbank. You just opened an office there. It's not officially open yet, but tell us about your lenses and tell us about the new facility.
Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks again for having me. Second year, so we survived the first year. So, Sigma is an optic company. We're traditionally a still-based company. 2.5 years ago, we released our first set of Cine Lenses. They are based off of our still lenses. The idea behind them is to be fast, lightweight, good color accuracy, high resolving lenses, all designed for full frame. All the primes are designed for full frame, but to be fast and give a great look. They've done very well. As you can see, they are very lightweight, small. All the gearing's the same. Covers anything from the Venice to your VistaVision or your Super 35s too. So we feel like they're a great future-proof decision when you're buying a lens. At this time, investing in a set of Super 35s might not, in 3, 4, 5 years from now, your options on camera, your camera options are probably going to increase. Those cameras are going to come down in price. So by investing in a set of full frame primes now, you can move forward and not have to worry about whether, in 3 years do I have to buy another set of glass or whatever. You can just buy these and, use them for, 15 years or so. The big news for us actually is an investment in LA community and the production hub that is LA. We're putting a rather large office in Burbank. If anybody's familiar where DJI is, we're like across the street from them. All of our we have like 3 or 4 dealers that are all within 10 minutes of us now. So we'll have a huge showroom. We can come by, test the lenses. You want to test a still lens, you can come by. We'll have a full photo studio. We'll have a full scene set for you to come by and test, the still or the Cine lenses with. We'll have full service. We'll have projection if you want to come in and. Actually, I was looking at the Corzio in the Fuji booth earlier today to try to find a good projector for the projection room. So the idea is to be part of the community. If you buy a set of lenses, you could drop them off and hopefully get them repaired quickly. We don't have to send them to New York or Japan, or you're not fighting with one of our authorized agents who are repairing everybody's lenses on this table. We'll be there and we'll repair them we'll be there. Parts, you want to pick up a set, we'll have distribution there also. So you're one of our local dealers, you can stop by, and if they don't have it right there, they can just drive over and pick it up and you'll have them the next day. So it's a very exciting time for us. In August, we're going to throw a big party, so I hope to have everybody out and come see it. Parties are good. And that's basically it. Thank you.
Okay, let's turn it over to Ryan Avery. He's representing Tokina.
Thank you. So Tokina has a long history of glass manufacturing, still lenses. We make the great majority of the world's filters, sold under multiple brand names. Tokina decided in 2014 to embark on a project to make a ground-up cinema series of lenses. The intention at the time was to make beyond full frame for VistaVision and beyond, and the net result was the Vista Primes, which are a series of currently 6 lenses, soon to be more, all T1.5, like all the other, most of the other lenses on the table here, same gear positions. These will cover they put an image light circle of 60 millimeters approximately, so they will cover the Alexa 65 as well at T1.5, which will make your focus puller hate you. So these all have a screw-in filter front as well, all have a 114 millimeter outside diameter for compatibility with majority of the matte boxes out there. The general feedback is they have a very creamy, kind of nice fall off to them. The engineers paid extra attention to how the human eye works and tried to replicate that with these lenses. So they provide a very pleasing fall off and pleasing bokeh. So we have a series of those. We also have a series of zooms that are in the VistaVision range, and then we have developed a new Super 35 series, the first of which is this 11 to 20 millimeter, which is based off of our photo lens. We have for years marketed the 11 to 16 lens, which Duclos Lenses originally rehoused, and then Tokina decided to do it themselves. And now the 11 to 20 has more range, less distortion. It's T2.9. From 11 to 16 millimeters, it's Super 35, and from 16 to 20, there's some orange markings here on the barrel, which makes it full frame. So you get some full frame coverage in the 16 to 20, and 11 to 20, you get the Super 35. This has a common out diameter 95 millimeters, screw-in filter, and all the new Tokina lenses have the same family of mounts, so you can switch the Vista series. You can go from PL, EF, LPL, Sony E, Micro Four Thirds, including Nikon F, and the same mount works on the new 11 to 20. So you can use the same family of mounts. So we have our big, bright speed lenses, and we also have our compact zooms that are great for that as well.
And now we have Snehal, Patel. The other mics aren't working. Go ahead and stand up so make sure everybody can see you good. Yeah, you can share this one. You also have a new office in Sherman Oaks.
That's correct. Thank you for asking. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming out to this and listening to all of us. These are all really good friends of mine, and it's nice to be at this table. We do have an office in Sherman Oaks for cinematography, and we're actually going to be expanding early next year. So we'll have some new announcements in that regard. Today's discussion, of course, is about customers and serving the customer. My job is to serve the artist and to make sure that we have paintbrushes and tools for the artists and that they're working and serviced correctly and reaching our customers in a nice way. The nice thing about Zeiss is that we started in 1846. We started making photography lenses in the 1890s, and we started making cinema lenses over 80 years ago. So we have a long history of exactly working with the industry, working with professionals, and making professional products. All of our lens products, be it still lenses or cinema lenses, are all professional products meant for professionals to use. So that means that they have to follow certain criteria. They have to be built a certain way. They have to be serviceable. They have to adhere to standards that exist. For example, since 2009, we've actually had full frame lenses. CP2s are full frame, CP1s were full frame, CP3s are full frame, the new Supreme Primes are full frame, CZ2 zooms are full frame. So we already have that covered. Our R&D, research and development money that we put back into from profits is very, very high. So we're always developing new technologies to help the customer. At the end of the day, what that means is that we have solutions, doesn't matter what your budget is, because looking at all of you, you all have different needs and requirements for lenses. You're not all looking for high-end cinema glass. You're not all looking for anamorphic glass. Sometimes you're looking for a lens for a crash cam, or you're looking to make a YouTube video, so you have a 5D camera or an A7S or something like that. The nice thing is that no matter where you are in your price point or what your requirements are, Zeiss has a solution for you. If you want to use Sony E-mount, we have still lenses that can be used for video, like the Loxia lens, which is manual focus and manual iris. You also have an autofocus bodice lens, which can actually pull focus by using the internal system in the Sony cameras to be able to pull focus with facial recognition. You have EF mount and Nikon mount Milvis lenses, which are high quality new versions of our classics and our classic ZE and ZF primes. You have Otis lenses, which are premium still lenses that a lot of people use for filmmaking and video as well. And of course, if you go up on the line, you then have the CP lenses, compact primes, which is around a $5,000 to $7,000 price point. And now you have the ability to get metadata using Cooke/i technology that was developed by Zellan and his company. We're able to communicate with camera systems, all camera systems that can read that technology, and offer extra things like shading and distortion correction for green screen, white backgrounds, and for VFX applications. If you move up the line, we also have zoom lenses, lightweight zooms, which are inexpensive, more expensive CZ2 compact zooms, which are actually full frame and match with lenses like ultra primes. And now we've just announced recently on the 24th, new Supreme Prime lenses, which are full frame, high quality, high end cinema lenses. And of course, with ARRI, we still have ultra primes, master primes, and master anamorphics. So it just depends on what kind of job you're looking for, right? What kind of project are you working on? Are you going to rent a camera package? Are you going to rent lenses? Are you going to purchase something? Are you going to use something that that you already have, well, it doesn't make any difference. You can buy a lens brand new from Zeiss today, or you can buy a 50-year-old lens from eBay. There's always a way to make that lens work. There is technical expertise and service centers all over the world that specialize in making these lenses work for you. So it doesn't matter if I pick up a super speed lens that was made 60 years ago, I could still get it serviced and working and get it in a rental house environment, which means it has to be hardy, it has to be able to get dropped, picked up, and used right away again. It has to be serviced and fixed. And I think that that's what's important about paying attention to the customer and what they need. They have certain budget restraints. You have certain requirements that you need to meet. You need to meet your schedules and get through the end of the day. And that's what we are there for, is to make sure that you're always working. So I encourage you, all of you, to look up our lenses online, our choices. If you go to zeiss.com/cine, C-I-N-E, you're going to see all our different choices for cinematography, from all the way from the least expensive, $900 Batis and Loxia lenses for E-mount, all the way up to the $50,000 anamorphic lenses for Master Anamorphics. Keep in mind, a lot of these lenses you will be renting. And what's really interesting that a lot of people don't know about is that you could rent just about any Zeiss lens that was ever made. Actually, you can pretty much rent any of them, as long as they're still working and serviceable. In fact, the Loxia, Batis, Milvis, Otis, all the still lenses that people use for video are very easy to find on online rental forums and from your local photo and video dealers as well. So please, I encourage you to try our lenses out for a project. And any cinematographers, if you want to come see us and come see some more equipment and choices that we have, you can come to our booth. We have a number of camera setups, all the way from Red Monster and Blackmagic camera to Alexa LF, large format, and Sony Venice. We have a little blacked out room where we're showing reels on from the Supreme Primes on an OLED monitor, which has AC, so that's really nice. And of course, we have all of our still lenses available to try out, like cameras like A7S and the EVA1 as well. And we encourage you just to come, take a look, try something out, and see what you like. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Snehal. So we have a little bit of time left for Q&A. Jeff, have you got any questions for us? We have to repeat the questions, please. So what the hell made you build a lens that big?
We took design cues from the United States Artillery Corps. Just wanted to make something really heavy. Actually, the reason is this lens contains 3 A spheres and very high performance all the way out to 47.6 millimeter. A lot of lenses will cover that format, but an area of good definition. And also the Vista Primes have nearly zero breathing, and I invite anyone to come by booth 206 and prove me wrong. To design the lack of breathing and the exceptional performance to 46.7 and a little bit beyond that, that's why it's so large. Also, the height of this lens, the design was to keep it at 18T 1.5 inside this diameter of housing. It had to extend a little bit longer. That's why it looks a little bit longer. So those are the reasons.
Yes, sir. That comes from lens owner Enrique Del Rio, and he would like to know how you guys know that Super 35 is going to be around a while.
Well, we don't have the magic solution, but I think Super 35, talking to a lot of DP, is really the sweet spot in terms of quality, performance, and size of the lens. We just, when we designed the new 12-1, we had to really push a little bit of a limit in order to just get higher quality in order to cover a full frame. But also the lens became quite big and also limited in terms of T-stop. So the lens right now, when we put the full frame rear, is a T42. So that means that you get, just compared to the 20-42-90, which is T28 in Super 35, you get the same angle of view, but you lose basically one stop. So a lot of people just are willing to do that when they shoot in exterior, but when you are in interior, when you like crew are becoming a a little bit more smaller. So they just want to limit the numbers of lighting they are using. So using Super 35 just format is still really strong. And in terms of, if we look at broadcast, for example, in the past, when we started to do broadcast HD, we were in a 1-inch format. Then just when the quality of the sensor increased, and so everybody moved to 2/3 inch, and then we went down to a 1/2 inch, even a 1/3 inch with the same resolution. I think the sensors are becoming more sensitive and also more precise. So we'll probably see a lot of new sensors coming in the future years with 8K, whatever, even more in Super 35, and also very great sensitivity. So the availability of the glass also is very just impressive, from the old vintage lenses to the modern lenses. So there is a push for full frame. This is coming, of course, just due to probably camera manufacturer. It's not really coming from the DP. I don't think just the large majority of DP want to use full frame, but maybe they are forced because it's a new trend. We'll see.
I have a really quick thought on it. I don't think it makes any difference if Super 35 is going to survive in the future or not. I think it's a good bet to have lenses that have larger coverage, only because you can use them on both systems. So I think that there is a positive curve towards a larger format lenses, only because you could easily use it on Super 30. In fact, we call it the fillet of the lenses. What you look through the center of the lens, which is the highest optical performance you can get. So a Supreme Prime lens, for example, which is made for full frame, use it on Leica sensor in Super 35, or use on a Sony f55 sensor or a red helium, let's say, will perform magnificently.
I would. I would caution what was just said. At least, if you think about a lens, at least I'll only speak for Cooke. I'll let others speak for themselves. But our philosophy is that we have a certain fall off of focus as we get toward the edges. We don't try to build a flat lens. We try to build a lens that sort of imitates the way you see. I'm sharp and everything around me is sort of soft and fuzzy. So when you take an S7, and we don't mind if you do this, it's just a cautionary note that you should know. So if you take an S7 that's built for full frame and you put it on your Super 35 camera, yes, you'll get a beautiful image. It'll look Cookish. You'll have a wonderful image, but you're going to be using, as was said, the sweet spot of the lens. So you're not going to get the same sort of fall off that you might be looking for. So an S7 used in Super 35 is going to not look like an S. It'll look color-wise like an S4, but it'll have a different fall-off because you're not going all the way to the edge of the frame. So you got to talk to the camera guys about that.
Maybe I should answer that. I'm the camera guy. Well, Geoff, this is really an important point. And, the question in the auditorium was also, is Super 35 going away? It's not going away. And now we have an additional format. We have large format. We have also a very exclusive format with the Alexa 65, which is also not going away. And I think every format needs its dedicated lenses because it has a lot of benefits. And coming to the camera, and we have realized, and if you have a lens which a larger coverage, for Super 35, there's really light bouncing around, and you cannot entirely control it. And we have a system developed on the rear side of our signature primes. You can add there's a magnetic holder, format masks, and for Super 35, or also for 16:9, which is even smaller, because we really have realized if you're not doing that and you have a lens with a larger coverage, you cannot control that. And I think this is not only with our cameras, this is with any camera, if it's Red or Sony or Canon, because this is physics. And so I totally agree also with Les. Every system, every format needs its dedicated lenses, or you need to have some other actions like format masks, stray light masks that could be also in the front of the matte box to control that.
You just have to be aware of what the trade-off is. like in life and especially in physics and light, nothing comes for free. You're getting something and you're pushing the balloon in one place, it's going to pop out somewhere else.
Well, I guess I'm not the only one that was interested in this subject. Standing room only the whole time. I have some thank yous to go through. Our wonderful panel, Jean-Marc Bouchut from Angenieux, Thorsten Meywald from ARRI, Zellan from Cooke, Seth Emmons from CW Sonderoptic, Stosh Durbacz from Fujinon, Anna Piffl from P&S Technik, Kim Hogue from Schneider Optics, Brian Linhoff from Sigma, Ryan Avery from Tokina, and Snehal Patel from Zeiss. I'd like to thank our volunteer crew as well, Cameron Cannon and Mitch Goldman operating the cameras. We had Enrique Del Rio helping us set up, as well as Christopher Nell keeping an eye on sound. Thank you all for coming.